That was weird. Good afternoon, it's 1 o'clock UTC on this Sunday, June 18th, Father's Day in many parts of the world. And it's very warm over here in the United Kingdom, but of course we're monitoring the tropics as well. I'm joined right now by Craig over in Scotland, where it's not quite as hot, but still very much so, I think.
I wouldn't say not quite as hot, but it is very warm outside. It's holding a very steady 5 right now.
Yeah, you're a little quiet over there, by the way.
I swear to God, I hate Skype right now, because these are brand new headphones, so there's nothing wrong with them. So, Skype, get it sorted.
Oh
honestly.
Dear.
I'm using this mic to speak through, obviously. So, Skype's at fault here. Blame Skype as always, and you always win.
Right. Okay. We'll I guess we'll take that then. 84 degrees over here. Eyes on the Atlantic at this hour, but on this particular page we don't have anything right now because we're trying to get there. I'll be there in a moment with what we've got. Let's see. There's this. This is Invest 92L, which is approaching. Well, right now it's something like what was it? 380 miles from Cayenne, which is the capital of French Guiana. And it's closing in on South America, and it's going to be heading eventually towards Trinidad. Craig, chances have been dropping slightly on this one recently, still 50% in the next 5 days. What do you think?
This thing still has a chance to form. Yes, its window is closing, but during with recent history of what things have been going like, storm always dropping, and then they end up forming, but
yeah,
this
that has happened many times.
It loves to be unpredictable. This is the Atlantic as we know, and it does always love to be unpredictable. A storm that's all immediately springing to mind, which was already done by this point, is mainly Arlene. I mean, who saw that coming?
Oh gee.
Even though you would have missed it because it was embedded in a extratropical cyclone, but looking at it right now, I'm not as impressed with it than what it was looking yesterday. It was looking poor yesterday's also, but 93L looks like it could be trying to form.
And just want to point out now, as if by magic, you can now see both me and Craig talking on the stream, as well as the storm. We've got everything here. Well, let's take a look now at 93L as well. There it is near, sort of getting towards the Yucatan. If it had a center, it would be near there, because the floater is centered sort of over Belize right now, but the main convection to do with this system is further east.
Yeah, I've looked on the visible imagery of NOAA as tropical floaters, and I have seen what looks to be a slow, broad area of circulation. It's not well defined in any form of way. It's very broad, and it's very elongated, and it's very weak. The rotation isn't very fast, let's put it that way. I would mainly had that as developing, not there yet, but if it makes landfall in the Yucatan, it's rarely going to affect it. I would see the odds probably dropping as soon as it makes landfall in the Yucatan. Once it does that and gets into the Gulf of Mexico, then you could be looking at a whole different ball game. The odds could start increasing again, or they could just drop off, and then it just becomes possible rain throughout, maybe the odd gusty wind coming from it. Depending on where it goes, the models have been certainly interesting, taking it towards Texas, well, some taking it towards Texas, and some towards Florida.
I think it's trending towards the latter now.
So it's trending towards neither of them?
No, towards the Florida Panhandle area, perhaps.
Oh.
In a minute, we'll get up the latest SEWS graphics. If you've not seen it before, SEWS, SEWS is Force 13's new, well, not new, but what we're running right now on the systems, where we're tracking the Atlantic developments before they form. We've been doing that for around 2 or 3 days. We're up to the 6th advisory on Invest 92 and advisory number 4 on 93. You can visit that right now at force13.co.uk/SEWS SUS.html. That is the place to be right now. If you didn't get the memo from late May, by the way, the .com website is still out of action. We still do have it, and it will be coming back in mid to late July. .co.uk will be taking the reins for the meantime, and after that it will probably become the UK branch of the website. But that's it right now, and so how the models have been going. One or two have been a little bit wacky recently. The HWRF yesterday said 92L would become a hurricane. The HWRF today the HWRF says that 93L will become a hurricane, Craig.
Well, to be honest, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. We've seen storms become storms and they look terrible. They've looked absolutely shocking and they should never have been storms in the first place. So stranger things have happened. We've seen storms even not expected to become hurricanes. Or we've seen storms not expected to become tropical storms become tropical storms. So, but
Right.
I wouldn't really see this thing becoming a hurricane. I'll be amazed if it even gets close. I'll be amazed.
It could get close. Many systems have done that in the past, in the early part of the year. Anyway, I want to just let everyone know. We obviously are live right now. We're right here, right now, if you're watching us live. It's quite odd, isn't it? A little bit of a paradox. If you're watching us live in the future, we're not live anymore, but there we are. But if you are watching us right now, send us a message if you've got any questions, if you've got anything to say, on the YouTube's comments section right now. Start your message with Force 13, all in text. We'll respond. I saw that one or two people said that 93L already looks like a tropical storm. The only problem with that is that it's not yet got a circulation.
Well, let me have a look at 92L. I haven't really seen much of 92L, so I can't really comment or speculate.
93, the one in the Caribbean.
Oh, 93 we're on about.
Yes.
93, I've seen it. I wouldn't really call it a tropical storm. Its convection is active. There is very active thunderstorms are blowing up over the developing center, if there is one. We should find out later.
On your screen is the latest visible from GOES 16, the new satellite that was launched on 93L. That's I think the latest image there was from just half an hour ago.
Well, as you can see there, I mean, you see a very well organized or very big area of thunderstorms, which is
looks certainly deceiving on this one.
Oh yeah. This is probably what's going to be the more downsizing factor to the storms.
We're not seeing that much rotation, and let's not forget the hurricane hunters are in there later today, apparently. They said, interesting, the National Hurricane Centre's wording, by the way, they'll go in there if necessary. I think it
even though they go in there regardless.
I think it will be necessary, and they'll evaluate the system. It's already got 35-mile-an-hour winds, and it wouldn't surprise me, Craig, that this could be one of the systems that gets to 40 miles an hour before it gets to be a tropical cyclone. You could have a 40-mile-an-hour invest later today. Yeah, we could do, or it could literally be either do what normal investors do, as you said, become 40 miles an hour and not get designated. But to be honest, to be on the safe side, I'd rather see a recon go in to be safe, to see what's there. Rather than have it, it's 40 miles an hour, but we won't send the plane in. Yes. And it'd be more like common sense, go in regardless, just go in to see what's there for the time being. They're thinking about doing it tomorrow in Invest 92L as well. Yes. Just looking at shear right now on the I'll have to do a screen share just to be even more descriptive of what I'm gibbering on about. That would help me out a bunch. It should be loaded because I'm using the better version of Scout. Here it is. Talk us through it. Well, from right now, what you're seeing, I know I'm using Sims, and it's not really trustworthy again yet. Anyway, I'm hoping it does become trustworthy again.
But for what Sims is seeing right now is very, very strong shear ahead of 93L. Somewhere down here there's something called 92L. I think that's it right there.
Yep.
In favorable conditions, but there is a very unfavorable. Basically, stuff that will slaughter it.
Absolutely, that's been coming for a while. It's not
Yes.
going to make it very far into the Caribbean at all.
No, it's going to be like one of them ones where we had that situation. Yes, I'm going to mention another hurricane. I'm going to mention Danny with the dry air and the high shear. When he was a Category 3, what was he going to do next? Was he going to go into the Caribbean? Or was he going to basically fizzle out? Be fizzled out? This is near enough this is always never going to be the same thing, but it's somewhat the same with shear, but this is thankfully not a named storm. This one mainly might be just a rain event, or maybe there's a little bit of high wind in it. But
well, Erica was a
if
rain
it does
event.
become
Got retired.
yeah, that was a major rain event. Though. That was a major rain event. Dumping record total rain.
I'm just looking at Invest 93 there on your graphic as well. High wind shear ahead of it too.
Yeah, high wind shear. It's going easterly, northeast. But if the storm ends up going northeast, the shear won't kill it. The shear will just take it. It will just drive the storm. It will just drift it. The convection won't get ripped off because the actual storm itself and the thunderstorms are going with it or moving with the shear. So,
but at the moment we're expecting it's going to move just west of north, so
maybe a little bit. That might end up causing the shear to rip it apart, which would mainly be a saving grace. But then the next question that comes for 93L: what's it going to do if it does hit the States? What's its impact going to be apart from heavy rain, maybe gusty?
Let me bring to you what Force 13 Suze is saying right now. These are the Suze graphics that you can access on that link that I described to you earlier, as soon as I can shrink it enough so that you can see the whole thing. This is what it looks like for Invest 92L. This was as of 12 UTC, which was only an hour ago. You can see its location and where it's expected to go. We expect it will become a tropical depression very soon, possibly reaching tropical storm intensity by this time tomorrow, and then reaching the Windward Islands by this time 2 days from now. I'm losing track of my days, by the way, so around this time on Tuesday it looks like it's going to pass through the Windward Islands and make it close approach to Trinidad. No warnings there yet, by the way. I've had a look, but I expect that might happen soon, regardless of whether it actually becomes a tropical storm. And then it looks like the remnants will survive. One or two models hinting that the remnants will survive as it moves south of Hispaniola, south of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, through the Yucatan, and even the GFS I've seen saying that it will still be discernible in the southern Gulf of Mexico, moving into the coast of Mexico next week.
I think the GFS really needs to go and lay off the alcohol.
Oh dear, well, it could be true. Anyway, here's the other one somewhere. There's the other one, Invest 93, and as you can see, confidence is slowly rising on that one to become a tropical storm as it approaches the Gulf Coast. And at the moment, the Suze graphic here says that the landfall is going to be somewhere around Pensacola as a tropical storm, but it could be as far west as New Orleans or as far east as around Tallahassee, moving inland there. And then it looks like it's going to move northwest. This is in no way clear cut, however, either in track or in intensity. The HWRF says it's going to be a hurricane in their latest forecast. I think that's a little bit off, but it looks like it's going to be a large system, doesn't it, Craig? And that could be a bigger problem than anything.
Yes. Large systems as we know, do have bigger problems. Yes, they don't intensify incredibly quickly, but they do tend to hold a lot more rain, and they can dump a lot of it and cause a lot of flooding problems. And especially if it's in the States, they can cause, well, it doesn't matter where you are really and where it hits. It basically is going to cause flooding if it does hit anywhere, landslides if there's anything mountainous, or just even hills. Or maybe even, obviously flash flooding is going to be a problem. So tornadoes are going to be also a problem. this storm is going to prove a problem regardless once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. Either that, it could just fizzle out because of the wind shear.
Well, it's already causing large amounts of rainfall over many of those locations, from Honduras and Nicaragua initially. Now it's more Jamaica, Cuba, the Cayman Islands as well, where a lot of the rainfall is occurring. And I saw on the infrared imagery last night, it is pretty intense rainfall in some of those areas, particularly out at sea right now, but over 1 or 2 land areas too.
Yeah. But I'd mainly see the worst of it's obviously where its centre is. Well, quote unquote centre. I'm not saying it's Gulf centre. Just going to see what the TPW's got for, see if it does have one. This is a very good source to use.
Right.
If you're looking at developing systems, say tropical waves or future storms, even invests, you can use this to see if
do they have anything to do with
any form of circulation.
Do they have anything to do with rainfall, Craig?
This is mainly microwave imagery, so I would suppose this would really have a lot to do with rainfall.
I wonder what rainfall estimates might be in this system.
Well, rainfall estimates once the image loads. The heavier the rainfall, say this area, once the image is fully loaded, because it is quite a long loop that loads. I mean, here, for example, over China, Vietnam, and all that. The white areas here.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
just giving an example of the heavy rain. I'm not saying
when
something's
it
over
finishes
here.
Loading. There it is.
Yes. The white areas here are very, very heavy rain. There's a lot of moisture. The dark areas are mainly dry. As you see here, extratropical cyclones going along the bottom here. You see the moisture and the dry air. Here in the Atlantic, you can see 93L, and there's a lot of moisture. Might get a bigger view, actually. Domain.
So just to clarify there, you've got the scale going from one orange extreme to another, really, sort of a brown colour over Antarctica and the polar regions there, which is extremely dry, into the blues, into the yellows, into the dark orange type colours, another shade of brown really, in the tropical zones, which is obviously where the wettest areas always are. And the extreme areas are just sort of getting towards dark red and pink, aren't they? Just beyond the brown colour there. Yeah.
And here's the Atlantic view. Instead of looking at one of the tiniest views of the Atlantic in the world, you'll see. Here's 92L. You see a circulation. You see it spinning there. You see the moisture spinning. Here it is again. As the look goes across, you see it tightening up and drawing in all the moisture. You see its inflow coming in from the east here. You see this little inflow band.
Still waiting for its circulation, though. Exactly.
This is only what microwave's seeing. This is not really strong. This is broad.
Huge.
This normally takes it. Yeah, that's another thing as well. Here's
some 93L. Of it is even into the east pack.
Some of the inflow, yes, quite a lot of the inflow. Here you can see a very good outflow as well. You see this developing extratropical cyclone is going to take the inflow away from it, which is very good for this developing tropical cyclone, and also the inflow coming in over the eastern Pacific. You see a very good very well presented circulation. You see a little bit of an inflow coming in from the Caribbean as well. But the problem is landed direction. Yucatan, Cuba, there's your problems really for this storm developing, and also the circulation that's in the storm right now isn't strong. I've just noticed over here, just off of Africa, is possible a tropical wave. There's a little circulation that's actually starting to spin up. So this is another tropical wave that may become a disturbance. Gets tied by the NHC, may not form because of the Saharan air layer that's there. But you see the amount of moisture that's in the Caribbean, that's pretty impressive. You can see all the moisture being sucked towards 93L. This is a pretty strong inflow, but this is not a named storm. But the thing that really confuses me at the minute is that when it hits, say, Florida or somewhere where it's predicted to hit according to the models, is it what's its threats going to be apart from flooding? And tornadoes might be another, and maybe
possible
because I've checked the because I've checked the Storm Prediction Center, they've seen nothing as of yet because they only go out to 8 days. They've had nothing yet, so I'll probably need to check either tomorrow or a couple of days' time to see if they've got anything. But this storm is going to be very, very interesting to see what it does, especially in the Gulf of Mexico, because this storm could basically go anywhere and do anything. This could go over Florida, it could go into Mexico, or it could go straight on into Texas or Mississippi or Louisiana or something.
Which models are hinting at that latter possibility there, more westerly track?
Oh, now you really got me thinking.
Well, in the meantime, I want to tell everyone what the HWRF thinks of it right now. The HWRF thinks that 93L will become a minimal hurricane as it makes its closest approach to the Mississippi Delta, Louisiana. Looks like a landfall just on the Mississippi-Alabama border as a high-end tropical storm, really, and then moving inland over the rest of Alabama into northern parts of Georgia and then on to the Carolinas, actually, but it'll be gone by then. In terms of rainfall, if anyone's interested, it's saying a peak rainfall total of about 18 inches just off the coast of the Mississippi Delta. The highest over the land areas is probably going to be a large area of around 10 inches or so in southern parts of Alabama and in extreme western Florida. Not sure how much of a pinch of salt we take with that one, but
I probably take a big one.
That's what it's saying, and what we can deduce from it that's probably going to be pretty likely, though, is that the eastern side of the storm will probably most likely be the wettest and possibly the windiest.
Yeah,
I mean, it's happening right now. If this thing had a centre, it's already displaced to the east.
Oh yeah, the shear really is playing havoc.
Well, I'm not sure it's to do with shear yet, but it probably will be later on.
Yeah, it's probably a mixture of two factors: landed direction for sure, and there is wind shear, so wind shear would be another factor. So you've got two clear factors of what's probably causing it a lot of disruption, landed direction mainly. But as far as I can see, the storm is looking promising on the mimic, on the total precipitable water. So this is mainly all the moisture that's in the storm. So the mimic TPW, which is what it's called, it's on Sims. Good source to use. Maybe the wind shear is a bit questionable, but we'll draw a veil over that. But Sims is a pretty good source to use if you're looking for microwave imagery. Ram's good, but their microwave imagery is very pixelated. It's as if they're censoring something they don't want you to see.
Maybe they are.
Maybe they are. Maybe they're trying to censor something from a terrible storm structure of microwave.
Possibly.
But Sims is a pretty good source to use. Their microwave imagery is very high in quality. Archer, their new features we've used for such cyclones such as Debbie, Typhoon Moranti and all that, they've been pretty good. They've been very good because they're actually not look like their mimic TC is, and you can't pause it. So you can basically select a random picture, look at it, see what's there.
So Craig,
this is going to be interesting. See what next show's going to do.
Tell us overall, what chances do you think these storms have? Do you agree with the National Hurricane Center's numbers?
Well, the chances that 93L's got, I probably put it down a little bit because of land. Gulf of Mexico, you may be looking at something. If they're putting the higher chance for the Gulf of when it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, then maybe I would agree. But the decreasing odds for 92L, I would definitely agree because it doesn't look great on the imagery that it's on right now. So it doesn't look great in terms of presentation. The presentation looks poor. Maybe dry air's getting into it. Maybe.
There we go. The bill on the screen now. That took a while.
93L, I would probably agree. Depending on, as I said, depending on where the chance is being put. If it's in the Gulf of Mexico, which I'd imagine it is, apart from the disturbance X where it's been marked where the disturbance is, But if there's formation chances in the Gulf, then I would probably agree with that.
They had 92L at 70% the other day, and now it's down to 50%. Do you agree with that, or do you think the percentage should still be higher?
Well, depending on what their notion is for it, because there's a lot of different things to it. But I would agree they're putting it down because it doesn't look great. It's obviously, yes, we know it's a developing. Well, what could be.
It doesn't look great, but there has been signs of getting that circulation. I think ASCAT will be in the area soon, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just verify.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't miss it.
In fact, that's pretty much happening now. We'll have, hopefully, news from ASCAT from Invest 92L in the next half hour. Or in the next 40 minutes, I think.
Hopefully it's not missed it.
Yeah, hopefully it does miss the storms quite commonly. I think it will. I think it will get something from 92L, and it may well confirm whether or not this is a tropical depression. I don't think so at this point. I did think last night that we'd have a clear circulation by daybreak by the first visible images, but it doesn't appear to me. Let's just get the visible from GOES 16.
Yes, let's.
I'll get that up in just a moment, just to see what it's looking like, just to put that into pictures. But 93L does have a lot more time on its hands, and
yeah, more.
Yeah, I think the chances are good for that. As soon as I'm able to get the GOES 16 imagery of 92L, I'll show that to you in a minute, and I expect that ASCAT will reach 93L, therefore, in about 2.5–3 hours.
As long providing it doesn't miss it, of course.
Yeah, providing it doesn't miss, like it usually does.
Yes, and we get very frustrated with it. But of course, we can't help it. We can't exactly aim it straight at a storm and fire at it.
Now, Craig, I don't suppose, whilst we're at a little lull here, whether you have any comments about what we saw last week, the 2 tropical storms that we had in the Pacific, either side of it. Calvin.
Sorry, is that what it was named?
Yes.
Jesus. I didn't even know it existed. I must have blinked and missed it.
Oh yes, I think you did.
I must have blinked and missed it. Calvin, I'm not really thinking much of.
Right.
To be honest, we barely saw it named. It didn't look great. Let's put it that way.
Right. What about Merbok in the West Pac, South China Sea?
Merbok, well, Merbok gave some sort of show, to be honest. Yes, it gave a major threat to the Hong Kong area and China. It didn't really. I don't know whether it did much. Probably did a lot of flooding. I haven't heard much from it, or much from China, not from Merbok. Obviously, I don't message Merbok and say, "What have you done?" Obviously.
And if you remember when we were counting down to the Atlantic hurricane season, as we're just getting the GOES 16 imagery of the Invest 92L up right now. Before we counted down to the Atlantic hurricane season, we said that, or I said from Force 13, that Mexico, both sides of Mexico, and the South China Sea coasts were going to have more activity this year, and so far it's verifying.
Yes. Well, South China Sea's only had Merbok yet. Obviously, we still have the rest of the year to go, so we could still see a lot more storms.
Anyway,
oh yeah, it's a start.
We're looking at 92L, and Craig, I don't know if you can see this with me on the imagery, but there is a little bit of rotation going on. You can see there's the center of that system, which seems to be a telltale sign of where the circulation would be, but I'm not seeing much rotation. I'm not sure you can say that's a circulation at all.
I wouldn't call it I would call it a broad circulation. I wouldn't really call it a defined circulation. I wouldn't. To be honest, looking at it, I wouldn't really call it a circulation at the moment. Looking at it.
So 92L putting the ill into ill-defined.
God's sake.
What's up with that?
The pun was terrible.
Well, I was just speaking about the system. But
okay.
Its movement might be slightly south of west.
It's looking like it.
Is it going to make the turn, or is it going to just go straight into South America and become the second most southerly landfalling storm ever in the Atlantic?
it looking like it at the minute. It really looks like it. If it makes the turn at the last minute, then well.
It's got to make that
Well,
turn, surely.
If it doesn't, well, sadly we've got to deal with it. But I'd imagine it would make the turn. I would imagine it will. At some point, I'd imagine it will make that turn. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. It makes landfall. You know, it will end up fizzling out eventually. But what would this be if it made the landfall? It would be what, the second lowest latitude in landfall?
Yeah, after Martha, if it makes landfall pretty much anywhere south of Trinidad.
Oof. Well then.
Models aren't really saying that anymore. They said it at the very beginning, but it's going to make that turn soon. Otherwise, we could be looking at the first models being the most accurate.
And then we end up moaning to the model saying, why did you just stick with what you were saying first? But then again, that's what I don't really find good about models, is that when they start changing rather rapidly and quite consistently with others, it does get a little bit alarming, is that when they start saying one thing, we'll do another, and then this will do the same thing as this other model is saying. I would probably start saying that this, as again, I would imagine the storm will make the turn. 92L I'm on about here. The storm 92L would probably make a turn before getting towards a landfall.
You'd hope so.
In South America. Yeah, we hope so. Quote unquote.
Anyway,
hope.
This is Force 13 Live. If you're watching live, which we really hope you are, send us a comment on the YouTube comments page right now, and if you enjoy our coverage, do let others know that we are here and we are talking about the systems as they occur. I'm not sure how long we're going to be here this afternoon. We might have a few intermissions. That's what it looks like outside at Force 13 HQ right now. You can just about see the weather station there at the very bottom, which is currently detecting the 85-degree temperature here at Force 13 HQ. A little bit of a warm bias we have in this particular microclimate. Rather warm today. That's why me and Craig are indoors, and that's why Craig over there, I assume, has got his shutter down.
Well, I'm not going to all the way down. The sun is shining through the top window, and it is, and I don't really do well coping with heat because I normally get prone to heat stroke, depending on. Well,
that's because you're in Scotland. It never gets warm there.
Hey, what's your excuse? You're down in England. We're not supposed to get these
things.
It's
a little bit warmer.
This is
here.
what.
Well, but
this is why we don't get nice.
My excuse is that we're not in the south of England, which is under a excessive heat warning this afternoon in one part of Kent. Where temperatures are expected to reach 32 Celsius, 90 Fahrenheit. What a lot of people don't think about in this country is that most, if not, well, not all, but most private dwellings do not have air conditioning. So,
yes,
things get a little
if
bit,
you're in a house, if you're in a house that doesn't have air conditioning, get ready to bake.
Most public places
because you're going
do,
to bake. Oh yeah, if you're in an area that does have AC, then you're fine. But if you're in an area that doesn't, well, get ready to be roasted, because you're going to get baked.
Well, it just doesn't justify the cost, mainly. The heat waves only last a few days a year.
Yes, and then we're back to our miserable selves.
Oh, yes.
Oh, look, it's raining again. But to be honest, what really annoys me about Britain is that we always moan. We are probably the best moaners in the world right now. When it's too warm, we always moan, saying,
for yourself,
it's
Craig.
too hot. Hey! Sometimes I don't.
Okay, well, Tropics Tracker says, what do you think of my predictions of the Atlantic? 15 tropical storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 majors. Doesn't sound too outlandish to me.
No. It doesn't say in too, TT.
Did you come up with any numbers?
As I am one of them people, I was going to say persons, what? One of them people, I don't really like making predictions when before a season started, or when a season starts and there's not really enough, or when there's not really a certified factor of what's going to happen. I don't normally make season predictions, especially to Atlantic or East Pacific or Central Pacific for that matter, I always like to see what the season brings.
Let's just show everyone what
Whether
Force 13's predictions are. It's not there. It's there.
it's there somewhere.
Yeah, this is our predictions. The North Atlantic, 15 named storms, 8 hurricanes, 4 majors. The East Pacific, 15 named storms, 10 hurricanes, 5 majors. West Pacific, 25 named storms, 15 typhoons and 10 majors. And in North Indian, 5 storms and 2 hurricane strength cyclones. Now, you're going on to something else, and I was actually going to go with you there, Craig. Let's talk about what's going on in the US.
Well, there's not much going on at the minute. There's only a couple of warnings out. Severe thunderstorm warning and a flash flood warning. Let me read out the flash flood warning, because I've got a feeling I could be reading out a lot of places. And looking at it, yes, I will be. So I'll get that done. Flash flood warning remains in effect until 11:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time for Eastern... No. Forgive me if I do butcher this.
Uh-oh.
It's Attawagga County. Attawagga. Literally scream at me in chat if I'm butchering it. Literally scream at me.
I'm sure they will, but there's not much they can do about it, Craig.
Yes, exactly. Literally scream it in block caps. I don't care.
Oh dear.
Southwestern Elmore, northern Lowndes, and northwestern Montgomery counties. At 7:40 a.m. Central Daylight Time, the public reported flash flooding from heavy rain that was covering portions of Highway 14 west of Prattville from thunderstorms in southeastern Attawagga County. Doppler radar estimates over 4 inches of rain have fallen. Flash flooding is continuing. Some locations that will experience flash flooding include Montgomery, Prattville, Millbrook, Elmore, Posada, Deatsville, Attawagaville, Whiteville. What is going on?
We've got an ice cream truck in the area. They do that round here. It's not my responsibility, is it?
Go and chase them off. It's like, we're doing a live broadcast.
I might do just
Go away.
Well, you know,
just take the webcam with you. Just give us all a laugh.
Glorious day like today, I might just go out and get one, hey?
Oh, damn it.
Anyway,
Bring
as
me
you
one.
were,
Yeah.
this is important.
Yeah, sorry. I do apologize. This can go in the blooper reel. Where
get
was
on
I?
with it. It's important.
Where was it? I was reading it. Casuda, Deatsville, Attawagaville, Whitehall, Lawrensborough, Booth, Vida, Junction, Ottawaga County, County Airport, Woodcrest, Maxville Air Force Base, Ted's. Where am I getting that from? It says 10, Craig, god damn it. 10 Cedar Estates, Cantilus Hunter, Jordan Lake, Daniel Field, and Montgomery Riverwalk Stadium. And as they say, typically in flash flood warnings, don't turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roads. And on to the severe thunderstorm warning, provided I don't butcher that, considering I completely butchered that. Oh, they've cancelled it. Well then. Yeah.
There is a severe thunderstorm watch over in eastern Oklahoma, extending into Arkansas.
Yeah, I'd imagine that this would be the area that's supposed to be. This little area here. Oh, it's been extending down. As far as the radar can see, it can't really see that far down. I'd imagine it would be stretching down. Where is it again? Oklahoma. Is that how far it was stretching down? Just into Oklahoma.
Well, but you can see
I'll read out what the severe thunderstorm warning is. I'll read it what it is.
The watch, and there is a one warning area, yes.
Yeah, that is now kind of... Oh, well, never mind. There it is. Just reissued.
They've just reissued it. There we go.
Yep, just extended it. The National Weather Service in Tulsa has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin County in west central Arkansas, Crawford County in northwestern Arkansas, Sebastian County in west central Arkansas, eastern Sequoia County, forgive me if I do butcher that, in east central Oklahoma, northeastern Leflore County in southeastern Oklahoma, until 9:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. At 8:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time, severe thunderstorms were located along a line. Radar clearly shows it's in a line. Along a line extending from 2 miles southwest of Devil's Den State Park to 2 miles southwest of Figure 5 to 3 miles south of Muldrow, moving southeast at 55 miles per hour. Hazards: 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, impacts, damage to roofs, sidings, and trees. Locations in or near the path include Fort Smith, Van Buren, Ozark, Charleston, Cedarville, Mountainburg, Notre Dame, Greenwood, Pacola, Barling, or Alm, actually, I missed out a little bit, but I'll get back to that. Pacola, Muldrow, Alm, Barling, Roland, Lavaca, Arcoma, Mulberry, Dyer, Hackett, Altus, and Bonanza. That is the
Well, there we are.
Writing, I didn't read out the same places twice.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of heat warnings in the southwestern United States, including excessive heat warnings over there as well, in parts of California, southern Nevada, and into Arizona. Very hot, I believe. Temperatures. What are the temperatures over there? I heard something like 120.
I was hearing something like that, very close to it, in fact. I wouldn't be surprised if it's reached that right now. But sadly, GR Level 3 does not do that sort of thing. Sadly, I wish it did. Maybe the next update that they do for it.
Just going to see, today's high is around 113 in Phoenix, 113 in Yuma, and 119 at Needles. It's just on the border of California and, well, actually just near the tri-point of California, Nevada, and Arizona. And low temperatures, get this, Craig, a low temperature in that location of 88. And actually tomorrow over there, 122 is the high. That's 50 degrees Celsius. Outrageous.
And that is in where? That is what? California, was it?
It's just on the border of California and Arizona.
I'm hoping that's just the desert area, but if so, how do you guys put up with that?
Even hotter on Tuesday, 124.
How do you guys put up with that heat? I would be dead in that.
Well, but humidity is way down there as well, I believe. So, but just in case anyone was viewing from the UK, this is what we've got here. Today we've got our own warnings there too. All of that area in orange is heat advisories for today, and that small purplish area corresponding with the colours of the National Weather Service actually is the excessive heat advisory warning. Heat advisories are issued in this country when the temperature rises above 82, and the excessive heat warning when it reaches 90. The temperature here right now is 85. Remarkable. I don't know if you want to go back to talking about what's going on in the Atlantic, or whether you've got something else for us, Craig.
I'll just look around real quick. Don't panic at what these mesocycle markers are. These are just what the radar thinks it's seeing, but it's not actually. Oh, there's a place named after me. Oh, nice. But anyway, back to 92. Back to the Invests. I'll actually get the National Hurricane Center up. When did they last update, anyway? I was meant to ask.
Oh, it was something like just over nearly 2 hours ago. It would have been. We're just waiting for the ASCAT pass to occur as well. We will have news of Invest 92 within, I should think, about 30 minutes.
Providing again that it doesn't miss.
NHC Music there, I saw on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I question that. I have no idea. So that's what's been reading out natural report. So that's what's being said for 92. Well,
yeah, 50%.
90% for 93.
Yeah, is that the first time you've seen that? Yeah, they upped it to 90%.
90%. That's very peculiar. Despite
yeah, I believe we're now also joined by Orlando, if he's there.
Hello.
Yes, you're a little quiet over there as well, just as Craig was at the start of the show. How are you?
Me personally, um, uh,
We can barely hear you over there. We'll get Orlando at some point, I'm sure.
We will.
But look at that NHC sort of cone there, provisional thing, for 93L. They aren't
Yes.
ruling out Texas, are they?
No, they're taking that into mind. I think that, to be honest, what they've done with that is a pretty good idea. I think they've done the right thing in doing that. Tilting the formation area, the cone of uncertainty, or what I call is the formation area anyway, toward a little lean towards Texas. I'm not ruling it out. I could probably see that happening, or it could go straight towards the Florida Panhandle, as models have been saying. I haven't checked the models. I might. Oh god!
And there was some feedback over there as well. Yes. So if you've got any more questions for us whilst we're on the air, do let us know. Send us a message on the live chat right now, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can on our live stream. Oh, and someone just left there as well. Is that Craig?
Oh dear!
Someone was struggling.
I wasn't struggling.
Oh, well, did we have 3 people in the room? I have no idea. Anyway.
Probably. I don't know. Unless that other person was a poltergeist.
Who knows? What are we looking at now? Where are we going?
Well, I'm going to check the models to see if there's 12Zs there out yet. Actually, I might be checking a little bit too early.
Yes, I think it probably is a little bit
I'll
early.
check the 06Zs anyway. Once Tropical Tidbits loads. Tropical Tidbits is actually a pretty good models to use. Apart from when I was checking some of the SSTs, it actually had a major glitch in the servers. It said that well, the entire Earth had literally gone into a major La Nina, cooling everything down.
What?
Don't worry, everybody. That was a glitch. That was a server glitch. Don't worry. It was a glitch. It literally said that everything had cooled, but nothing. Don't worry. Now, North Atlantic, that's what I want.
Yes.
Nathan, do you have a fan? Do you have a jet engine?
A jet engine, perhaps.
It literally sounds like one.
Well, you know, we gotta keep cool.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's true. You gotta keep her cool during this time. This is the crazy GFS, as I've now given them a new nickname. In fact, the mental GFS, actually, because they love to predict outrageous things, as they normally do. This is what they think will happen with 92L, 93. Here you can see 93L is what the GFS think is actually going towards the Florida Panhandle. And here, just if you're watching, well that was a complete collapse from 92L.
Did it?
Yeah, literally collapsed. It crossed over the Lesser Antilles as a 95 millibar tropical storm, and then it just collapsed.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what happens when storms enter the Eastern Caribbean at this time of year.
That is very true. Also, going back to 92L, whilst I literally just blatantly dumped that in
And
trash.
there goes 93 as well. Looks like heavy rainfall being produced there as it makes its approach.
Yeah. And here you can see 93L making landfall with pretty heavy rain.
And you can see quite clearly the positioning of this, you know, Bermuda Azores High. Do you think that's going to stay in place now in that location? You think we could be looking at a low latitude storm season, not many recurves?
Well, to be honest, the way that the GFS had it had the high pressure, then it was bouncing around the place. But to be honest, that's normally what you'd expect highs to do, bounce around the place. But to be honest, if it does stay there, I could see that. I could see a low latitude season. I could see, well, we could see more storms going into the Caribbean this year. Very little recurve, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It really is going to be interesting to see, because this season, this already could be the sign of things to come with 2 disturbances in June. Let me make that very clear. In June already, and as one of the team members actually said, it looked like mid to late July. But to be honest, not in the last recent year. Well, not in the last few years in the 21st century has this happened. It might have done. I don't know. Because half of them years I wasn't really into tropical cyclones at that point. But looking back, if you look back, I mean, you probably would find somewhere close to that, or at least the same thing has happened before. Maybe before the 2000s, the 1900s or so, it might have happened. We just don't know. But
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What has happened in the 1900s? I know that in 1886 there were 3 hurricanes in June. Well, it's better to be honest, Craig.
That's true. It's true. But I was on about the disturbances, seeing 2 disturbances in
At
June
once.
already. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, as I said, we've not seen it in the last recent, well, not in the few years.
Well, not that we know of, but, you know, before
Exactly,
satellites,
that's-
you never know what might have happened out at sea,
Because it's amazing how much.
beyond our scope.
Exactly. It's amazing how much would have happened.
1914
because
was
of-
probably the ultimate troll with about 20 storms way out at sea and nothing else.
1914. How many storms did you have? Oh, we only had 1. Well, how come we got a hurricane? Well, an extratropical storm that had winds of a hurricane.
What are you referring to there?
Oh,
What?
I give up.
There was an extratropical hurricane in 1914. I don't remember that.
I give up.
Well, Craig's giving up.
I gave up a long time ago.
Craig must be succumbing to the heat. I'm not. Anyway, are you
I'm
going to
not
show us any
succumbing
other
to-
models?
Well, there's one model I will stay away from. Let's just stay away from
Oh
that one.
dear. I thought you were going to click it then. That would have been awful.
Oh dear. I would need an exorcist to come and exorcise me if I was looking at that. That's just looking at Satan. Sorry, CMC, I don't mean any disrespect at all, even though
I
you are a
seriously want to
computer.
know what you're talking about. A 1914 extratropical hurricane.
Let's just draw a veil over that, let's just ignore it.
Okay. Was it some joke? I don't know.
I was on about that the tropical cycle, the hurricanes.
Yeah, one that we
Yeah.
might have missed.
Yes, that hurrah!
I thought you had new research or something. Okay.
Wait,
We have
doing
been
research?
doing a lot
Oh,
of
that's-
research actually.
That's true.
Into the Western
Yeah,
Pacific typhoons of days gone by.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me
We
just
have.
see. I'm going off on a big tangent here, but let me just see if there are any interesting stories
Big tangent.
in 1914 over in the West Pacific. Anyway, go through your model run in the
Yes.
meantime.
Whilst Nathan is doing that, this is the nav gem, and what they've been saying. There's, you can see quite clearly 92 and 93L. 92 becoming what looks to be a tropical storm, crossing the Lesser Antilles, and doing pretty much what the GFS also said. It just basically gets slaughtered by high wind shear. And then 92 or 93L bobbles about in the Atlantic. Looks. I have a spider on my laptop.
Oh
Hello.
my.
Then you can see there 92L, well 93, sorry. Bobbles about in the Atlantic. It doesn't really do much.
Hmm.
You can see there, and it heads towards Texas, and it looks to have dissipated by the time it even gets there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is very weird. Unless they expect the shear to really ramp up, which it is a possibility. It could happen. Let's also have a look at the ECMWF. At least we're not spending £96 million on a supercomputer that can barely forecast anything. Oh, sorry.
Nice reference.
Yes, nice. Well hidden. Here you can see what the ECMWF thinks. 92L, you can see there, very close to South America. What on earth have they got it doing?
Hey?
92L is what the ECMWF looked to have it making a landfall think that's in what could be just in landfall North South America. Oh, goodness me. And then, basically, well, they don't really expect much of it. Obviously, I am looking at the 500 millibar height, so this could be what's maybe a tropical storm, might not be. Not like, well, there I'd probably say it's tropical storm, maybe depression. Then it makes landfall. Here you can see 93L. I get myself really
You're getting mixed up with those, aren't you?
I really don't know how, but still, I will get over that. There will be a
Outrageous.
time where I know.
Craig,
I'm insulting.
we're going to come
I'm
back to the
insulted.
models there, and we're going to talk about the West Pacific in the next hour.
Sure.
This is Force 13 Live. If you've got any questions for us whilst we're on the air, where have I gone? There I am. Hello. If you've got any questions for us, do send us a message. Start it with Force 13 in the comments section. I'm just, entertaining Craig over there in the background. Very warm over here in the UK. We're going through the heat. We're staying indoors, but it's nice and cool.
Hey, are you saying I'm bored?
No, not at all. We've got more.
Hey, yes you are.
More after this. Hope you're enjoying the stream, and we'll have more on Invest 92L and 93L. ASCAP Pass coming up on 92L very shortly, and we'll have the latest from that as soon as it comes in. This is Force 13 Live. Stay tuned. Our live coverage continues in a moment. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.co.uk at your service at any time. You can also find us on YouTube, the channel, search Force 13, all in text, and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also find us on Facebook at Force 13, and it's at Force 13 on Twitter, that's the handle to contact us there. You can also add Fool 13 on Skype, that's FOOL13, and add extension 9094 on Discord for tropical weather chat.